I'm back! Hey guys, welcome back. I'm back after a couple of weeks off. Firstly, I'll just tell you why I was off. Basically, I was supposed to get married last week. Unfortunately, because of COVID, obviously, the wedding got cancelled. So I just decided to take a couple of weeks off when I was supposed to be in lovely sunny Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, I was stuck in gloomy England and it was mostly gloomy, but you know, I always had video games and alcohol to get me through, so always a positive. This one's going to just be briefly about Avengers and Marvel in general, why Marvel is so important to me and why it's so prominent in my life, and also my first impressions, because I got the early access version of the Avengers, so I've been playing it for the last couple of days, and I just want to say that this guy, basically, if the whole game is just running through a big, mostly empty world, waiting to get to an enemy wave, you know, system, and just standing there and fighting them off, then it's not going to be fun, regardless if you're fighting alongside your friends and they're, you know, all the other Avengers. He was wrong, and here's why. So, Avengers, yeah, I just want to briefly speak about it because a lot of you are going to be playing it now, probably when this is out, so you've kind of changed your opinions. I just want to put this out there for anyone that watched my other one where I bashed on it. The problem is they messed up the beta, whatever you wanted to call it, because they didn't put all the awesome stuff that's actually in the game in the beta, and it feels less grindy and less boring, essentially, with the main game. When you've got the cutscenes, you've got the characters introduced, you've got all the skills to unlock, and all this other stuff. There are things I don't quite love about it, but that's not to do with the boring gameplay anymore. It's a completely different ball game. Basically, the way they introduce the story and the characters is done so well, and you get invested in this new Marvel storyline straight away, and I actually really like what they're doing with it. I feel like they're doing something a bit different with the Marvel characters. You know, they've been betrayed by AIM, and the Avengers have been disbanded, and your storyline is starting as Kamala, getting them back together after the events of A-Day, which everyone has seen. It's no spoiler because it's the first 10 minutes of the game. Essentially, the Terrigen crystals get activated, which is the start of the Inhumans. And in this game, it seems that the Inhumans haven't happened before. I don't know if they'll introduce more. I don't know if they're going to go to the moon and introduce Black Bolt and Lockjaw and all that lot. Who knows? I don't know. But it's done really well. And you're walking around as Kamala and you're meeting the Avengers, and it feels really cool. And because of that, like, I was invested much more. And it was cool to speak to Thor and Captain America, and eventually you more the storyline at the beginning of the game is revolved around Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, and it's just really done very well. And then it makes you want to go and do the missions because it advances the story. And what they've done very well is they've separated on the game the single player and the multiplayer. So you go in and do the single player, and you've got side missions, and you've got daily challenges and things you can unlock which help your multiplayer, but you don't have to go hand in hand. I haven't done a lot of the multiplayer yet, so I don't want to comment too much on that. But what I loved about the beta, the only thing I really liked about it was when I played it with friends. So it seems that what was missing from the beta is in the game. They just didn't put the right content into that to sell it. I know it was more of a break it and test it thing, and that was the point. But we all got up in arms because there wasn't what we wanted in there. But I was wrong. I actually really like the game. I'm only sat at about an 8 maybe. That might change. I like the fact they're already teasing this Hawkeye storyline that's going to come after the current storyline that's at the moment. I don't know how long the game's going to be. I think I've played it for about 10 hours maybe, and the campaign is about 20%. So like I said, there are lots of side missions. There's training missions. You can jump on and do co-op missions with friends. You can walk around the helicarrier and find stuff. There's loads to do, and once you're invested, and because they started with such a strong Marvel theme and storyline, and with all these characters, and you're playing as Kamala, who's this new excited fangirl, it kind of makes you feel like you're that fanboy or girl, experience all this Marvel fun, and then you get all these little hints and references and Easter eggs. You know, people dropping lines about other characters, and you know, they say something about Captain Marvel, and I'm sure I heard someone say something about mutant spiders at one point. So they are already kind of teasing the future, and you know that, you know, we've already got Kate Bishop got confirmed this week. Hawkeye's basically been confirmed. I've got no doubt, apparently it's due to data miners, there was all these other characters that are unlocked beneath the surface. So I'm really excited to see what happens. So I'm willing to say I was wrong about the beta. I was wrong on my first impressions of the game. I think this is a must play for all Marvel fans. We've already got a team of 4 here at Respawning who are going to be jumping online and playing it together. Actually, we're probably going to be streaming it when this video goes out. So pick it up. I apologise for sending you the wrong way, but everyone makes mistakes sometimes. Marvel, basically, what does Marvel mean to me, and why have I got such a history with it? It started when I was very young. I always read comics. I used to read like the Beano and Dandy. Then Mum started buying me like random annuals. So I remember one of the first ones, funny enough, was a Justice League one. But then she would also buy me some Avengers ones and some X-Men ones. And obviously the whole time, not obviously, but back in the 90s, there were all the best animated cartoons. So you had Batman, which was arguably the best, but Marvel had they had X-Men, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man obviously being one of the best ones, and there was just series after series, and I was obsessed with it all as a kid. And then you had all the amazing games, like you had the Ultimate Alliance games, you had the ones that were similar for X-Men, but I can't remember them. You had Marvel vs. Capcom, the Lego games, all the Spider-Man games that were out, which was a big impact. And not only that, but then obviously I started reading comics properly, and I was a bit older when I got into them. I would say probably it was probably about 16 when Civil War came out and the first wave of Marvel Zombies, and really up until probably about a year or 2 years ago, I was reading them still pretty much weekly, obsessively keeping up with the storylines. I have fallen behind recently, but then I'll go through big stints where I'll read a whole arc in one go and catch up. So I plan to do that with a Thor and Avengers next. So I've always been very much in love with what Marvel do. I feel like as well as video games, it's another way to escape. And obviously when you combine the two in the way that Avengers does, it's the best of both worlds. I've always thought the heroes were really different, and it's a bit lighter than DC a lot of the time. And I've always loved Wolverine and Thor. I've always liked Wolverine forever since the cartoons, and then as an adult, I started to read more Thor comics and get more into his history and lore and all that sort of stuff. And you combine it all, especially in something like the Avengers, and it's just really exciting. It's just fiction that interests me to no end. I will never get bored of Marvel, I don't think. As you can see from my background, this is all my stuff. It's all Marvel. It's mostly all Marvel, apart from a few Final Fantasy figures there. I genuinely love it, and I think that's why initially I was so disappointed by the Avengers beta, because it wasn't what I wanted. And same with Ultimate Alliance 3, I haven't bought it, but I tried playing Mike's and I didn't love it. The mobile games are always disappointing. But coming around to it and getting rid of this kind of angry critic inside me, playing the Avengers game and enjoying it, it's like I said, it is just enjoyable. And I'm really enjoying the single player solo campaign, and I'm really looking forward to trying the online after I've played around with the characters a bit more. There is a warning, there's a spoiler for the story end if you start the multiplayer on the main hub, which I think is ridiculous because no one's going to get that far, but you can jump into missions during the single player campaign. So there are 2, but the multiplayer is meant to be like a post-game thing that you do, an end game as it were, after you've done all the campaigns. So you go in with your leveled up characters and play together. Look, I hope that's given you a good idea of my love. I'm going to be doing some other content revolving around my favourite Marvel games. I have done some stuff in the past, but there's lots of games I missed out. Marvel generally do games really well, and I'm excited to see what else the Avengers have got to offer us. There are things that I don't like, the online elements like the battle pass, and the paid to win, the paid skins and cosmetics, but I think it's unavoidable nowadays. You just have to get on with it and suck it up. So thank you for watching. I'm back weekly for as long as I can. And if you haven't gone back and checked out Luke's cover of the Lightning Cave last week, please do it because it's awesome. And I'll catch you soon. Bye bye.